Margaret Fuller realized that there was a profound unity, an essential oneness that undergirded the universe. She saw in this mystical way all differentiation melt away, the separate become the all. On the deepest level, she realized difference and individual circumstances were a human-created illusion, because God was all, because creation was all one. She wrote, "I saw there was no self, that it was only to live in the idea of the all, and all was mine. This truth came to me, and I received it unhesitatingly, so that I was that hour taken up into God." This mystical merging with God became the foundation to build a life that was uniquely hers, and yet a life dedicated to the universal all. Dr. Tandeka writes, "It was at one and the same time a mystical experience and a transformation of herself into a human rights advocate." Aaron Kornfeld adds, "Her unfolding spiritual vision challenged the prevailing social construction of gender. The division of humanity into strict gender spheres," Fuller believed, "was ultimately unnatural, a partition of God's true essence." In a poem in later years, she wrote, "There are those who separate the eternal light in forms of man and woman, day and night. They cannot bear that God be essence quite." And so Margaret Fuller became passionate about guiding others to experience the divine essence within all. She proclaimed human rights for all. She wrote prolifically, lectured widely, and discussed deeply. She hoped that open discussion of philosophical and social issues would lead women to explore their hidden resources and develop their own voices. She invited women to shed their feminine socialization and to think of themselves first as intelligent human beings. In learning to speak their minds and to respect themselves and each other, she believed women could aspire to realize their divine potential. Their deep wisdom and divine intuition could emerge as purpose and activity as they collectively claimed a power to recreate themselves and the world. Margaret Fuller helped give birth to Seneca Falls and the 1848 launch of the women's rights movement. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton later wrote, "Fuller possessed more influence upon the thought of American women than any woman previous to her time." But she was not just a woman for women. Fuller believed that spiritual liberation was for all people, male and female. She believed all people could be freed from the separating illusion of gender roles, class expectations, racial profiling, and nationalistic posturing. This, she believed, would be the birth of heaven on earth, the bestowing of a universal salvation for all. She's a true universalist in this regard. Who knows what she could have helped us achieve? Who knows what else she could have written, said, or dreamed? On July 19th, 1850, as she returned home from Europe with her husband and her 2-year-old son, her ship was caught in a storm off the coast of New York. For 12 hours, the storms tore at that broken ship. Fuller clung to her 2-year-old son, Angelino, singing to him to calm his terror. Yes, she was a writer, a spiritual guide, and a teacher. She was also a mom. And that night, mother and child and husband perished. Margaret Fuller was just 40 years old. On this Mother's Day, we remember our own mothers and the women who shaped our personal lives. But let us also look beyond our own lives to a greater life. Let us remember the women who shaped our greater spirit, our collective consciousness. As author Eve Kornfeld so beautifully puts it, in her lifelong quest for complete humanity, Margaret Fuller provoked her generation and still speaks powerfully to ours. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.